Okay, perfect. Hello, YouTube. We're glad that you joined us. Come on, you got move. I'm going to step on you. All right, so we've got 3 different guys in here, all chewing on my shoes. But anyway, Bexley is our French Bulldog. That's Bexley. And then we have Maple. Maple is our Cocker Spaniel. And then little Trouble back here, that is chewing on me. That's a little boy. That's Huckleberry. And that is a Yorkie poo. I think you guys need more toys. Yeah, I think you need more toys. Come on. Hi. All right. So 3 different guys. I really don't have a good way to combine these because they're all kind of different. Where'd you go, Munchkin? Come here. I'm getting dizzy trying to see you. Okay. I don't really have a great way because these are all different dogs. So really, I guess we'll just got to do them one at a time. I try to combine them sometimes if I can, but that's not going to happen. So this is our little Cocker Spaniel. We'll talk about her first. She seems to be a little nervous at the moment, which of course she's a Cocker, so that's pretty normal. She is real pretty. She is chocolate, okay, chocolate and white, and then she does have some tan accents on her eyebrows. We'll get her up here so you can see. There we go. We got. You can see the little tan. It's not real dominant, but it is definitely there. So Cocker Spaniels. Of course, this is a Spaniel, and these are shedding dogs. Okay, get over there. There we go. Cocker Spaniels will actually get a double coat. They get a pretty heavy coat. There is normally your shedding dogs, we actually don't normally recommend cutting them, but there is a cut that you can do on a Cocker Spaniel. Dogs that shed have like oil and stuff on their skin, and you don't want to shave them completely all the way down. It actually does not keep them more comfortable like in the summer. You know, right now it's the winter, and of course you wouldn't do it anyway, but the Cocker cut doesn't take it all the way down to bare skin, but there is a Cocker cut that you can do on these guys. It's actually really pretty, and they look really good in it. You can do it if you want, or you don't have to, but either way. But anyway, so your Cocker Spaniel, you're going to be 16 or 20 pounds when this little baby matures. This is a little female, and she is, like I said, chocolate and white. She only has a little bit of tan accents that is on her face, right around her eyebrows, and that's about it. She does have some dimples on her nose to make her even that much cuter. She does have a little bit of brown, a little bit of tan accents coming on her feet. It's not very dominant. It's more of a dappling, but it's very, very light. Anyway. Cocker Spaniels, softer natured little pups. These are, they do like to play. They love to be outside, okay? These guys definitely love to be outside. It's winter time, and I can assure you she's still going to want to go outside. They do enjoy the outside. Well, that's what they were bred for. I mean, Cockers were originally bred as gun dogs, and so they're used to being out in the elements. Of course, they're from England. So, you know, England is even worse than we are here in Ohio. You know, they're used to those kinds of climates and conditions. But with that, like I said, these guys are going to like to be outside. So, you know, if you are in an apartment or something, you know, it'll be okay, but you are going to have to try to get these guys outside a little bit and then work with them. It would be better if you were in a house with a backyard where they could go out and play. That would definitely be a little bit better. We're not going to rule them out for an apartment dweller, but like I said, you will have to make accommodations for outside playtime with these guys. Playtime in the house alone is not going to be enough. Now, your Cockers are trainable. They're workable dogs. They are a working dog, so they are trainable. They are known to be just a little headstrong, a little bit, you know, on the stubborn side, but not too bad. It's actually not that bad. They've got a very sweeter, kind of calmer disposition to them. You know, a lot like the Cavaliers. Cavaliers have a very sweet disposition to them as well. And are you just hogging up the camera? How about we get you in a second? You want to play something here? Now, okay. We'll talk about you in a bit, I promise. With your cocker, again, nice family dog. If you don't mind vacuuming a little bit, I mean, luckily they're on the smaller side, so these guys are not getting, you know, you're not gonna have volumes of hair. You are gonna have hair, but it's not gonna be the same as an 80-pound lab. But you will have some hair to clean up, so just keep that in mind, but it's really not that bad. Nice, gentle, just a sweet little disposition. She is not as piddly as a lot of cockers are. And if you've ever owned a cocker, they have a nervous piddle to them. You know, they get excited and stuff and they end up tinkling on the ground. A lot of cockers are known to do that. There's other dogs that'll do that too. But I will tell you, I've had her for, you know, a few days at my place before she came here, and I really have not seen that, as she didn't do it in here, which is a good thing. So, you know, if you had a cocker and you said, oh, mine piddled all over the floor, you know, they do. And it's not because they're not house trained, it's because they get nervous. But this one actually doesn't seem to be possessing that nervous trait. So that's a good thing. So you'll see her pictures post tomorrow. She's not up on the website quite just yet, but she will be. So we'll let her sit over for a second, and we'll get you, who've been asking for attention since you got here. So this is our little Yorkie poo. This is our blue Moro Yorkie poo, and this is Huckleberry. Now, Huckleberry, Yorkshire Terrier and Poodle, definitely running more of a scruffle coat to him. We don't have a lot of curl and kink in there. Even though with that being said, he is, because Yorkies and both Poodles, both of those are very low shed dogs. So even though he's got more of the Yorkie kind of scruffly coat to him, he's still going to be very low shed. So he really isn't going to drop a lot of hair. Now he'll be okay for allergies. If you have dog specific allergies, he'll be okay because we do have the Poodle in his background as well. He's just not showing a lot of that coat. But now you're going to chew on my finger? But anyway, so very pretty color. His dad was a blue Merle Poodle. I'm pretty certain, if I remember the genetics correctly. It is marked in his bio. I just don't remember off the top of my head, but I think that's correct. Well, it would have to be, because they don't make blue Merle Yorkies. So his dad was a blue Merle Poodle, and mom was a standard black and tan Yorkie. So anyway, that's where this color would be coming from, and this is what we call blue Merle. And Merle is a broken pattern. It's multicolored. In this case, we call it blue. If you're looking at it, you're going to say, well, that looks like gray or silver or whatever, all of which actually could be correct. However, blue, when we're talking this color pattern, just like her, she's considered a blue, you know. Every breed has the colors, you know, and we end up calling them a certain name. In this case, blue would be the accepted name for this pattern. But anyway, whatever. Just a little side note there. Now, Yorkie Poo, smaller in size, you're talking 8 to 10 pounds with this little boy. You are going to have to work a little bit. He is in, we do have that terrier mentality. So you are going to have to work with him a little bit as far as training and just getting things done. He will tend to have an independent kind of personality. Not really a bad thing. It actually makes them a lot of fun. There are a lot of, you know, these kind of guys, they tend not to stress. They don't tend not to have anxieties and stuff as much because they're very independent. You know, they're used to thinking for themselves and things like that. So, you know, you can use that to your advantage and kind of work with them and stuff. Now, he is going to need to be combed out. I will tell you, normally, I mean, a hard comb is what we're going to use on him. But looking at this coat, I mean, you could honestly probably get a slicker through him. Normally, we don't recommend that. Not with your hair dogs, but because of the way his coat texture is, a hard comb is definitely going to work. It'll always work on these guys. You might, if you have a slicker and you're saying, hey, I'd rather do the slicker, there we go, thank you. Oops, sorry. That's your slicker brush. It's just the movable pins. And it's really only because his coat is so kind of wiry that this would actually work in this particular situation. Like a slicker brush on the Cocker Spaniel, yeah, that's not going to work. A hard comb is going to work, and you wouldn't. I didn't mention it either, too, but a hard comb is what you want for her too, because she's got a double coat. So, but anyway, so with him, like I said, you could do either, but a hard comb is perfectly fine. I would still recommend getting him clipped and cut Probably about, I'm gonna say, it's probably gonna go longer, because he seems to be favoring that Yorkie type of coat, which in most cases is a slower growing coat. So we normally would tell you 6 to 8 weeks. I'm gonna say you can probably go 8 to 12 almost on this guy. And maybe even a little bit longer. We'll have to see what this does when it comes in. Right now he's 9 weeks old, and this is all the longer it is, which is indicating very slow growth to me. So like I said, 8 weeks to get him groomed, 12 weeks to get him groomed, that's probably gonna be pretty realistic. His first grooming, he's not gonna need one for a while. Normally we do about 14 weeks. You might be able to go just a little bit longer on him, and stuff, so, but this is our little Yorkie poo. This is Huckleberry. And for those of you that just joined us, we do thank you. You're watching Friday Night Live with Your New Puppy, and we are Your New Puppy. We are located in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are open 7 days a week. You will find the website in our bios on all our social media platforms. You may also type it into your browser. Michael will give you that when I step over to the next place then, but you can type that into your browser and pull it up. All these guys are listed. Go to our puppies page. For the guys that are new and just got here today, there's a post, but their pictures are not up. Pictures don't go up till tomorrow, so you'll see their picture tomorrow. But right now, you get to see their beautiful little faces firsthand in our live. So this is our little Frenchie. We'll scoot over to her. We'll let somebody else play with the taco boat. We'll get you guys over there. Come here, you little chunky monkey. All right, so this is Bexley, and Bexley is actually a female French bulldog. Now, she is blue and tan in color. Hi, baby. Anybody wants to crowd me? Huh? She is blue and tan in color, very pretty. And this is actually blue. She's a very nice blue. She's got you see we got the blue nose, the blue muzzle. That is your blue indicator. And that is very normal. If she would have a blackened muzzle, her color wouldn't be this predominantly blue. It would probably be more of a blue fawn or something. But in this case, she is blue all the way through. And that's the way she's supposed to be. Come on over here. You hiding back there? Okay. So French Bulldog. This is a shedding dog. This is a shorter coat. So and you're only looking, Frenchies mature around 22, 24 pounds for a female. So we're not real big. Of course, they're stocky. So they're lower to the ground. They're only yay big. And the girls were talking and they were trying to decide how oval this dog was. And I finally walked away from the conversation because I couldn't figure out what they were talking about. They were prepping her and getting her bathed up and doing her nails, and they were talking about her being oval. A Frenchie, I guess, yeah, you could consider them oval in shape, but whatever. So that's just the staff I have to deal with every day. But anyway, our Frenchies, or not ours, this Frenchie, any Frenchie, they are going to shed, like I said. Very short hair. You're really not going to see a lot of it hanging around. Excuse me. You're not going to see a lot of it hanging around. So you're really not going to have to worry about that too much. Now, basic personality of a French Bulldog: silly, goofy, silly, and goofy. Okay, that pretty much describes a Frenchie. They are characters. They're clowns. They love to play. They really are truly goofy little things. I love them dearly. This is not one of mine. I do breed Frenchies myself. I've got a number of them, and they're all goofy. That's just what French Bulldogs are. But if you've never had one of these guys, they are a pleasure to be around. The nice thing about them, they are expensive to buy. I'm not going to underestimate that. If you know anything about Frenchies, you know they're a little more expensive than most regular dogs. And that's it. There's a number of things behind the scenes that go into these guys that make the price go up. First off, C-section for mom. Very few female French Bulldogs can naturally birth. I've seen a couple do it, or maybe have a pup, but they don't have all of them because typically a Frenchie's got a big broad head, it's got a big broad shoulder, and when that mom was trying to pass that through the cervix, there's just not enough room. So basically what that means is we're talking C-sections on these guys. You know, average C-section nowadays, you're talking $1,500, $2,000 just to walk into the vet to get these puppies out of mama. You know, and that doesn't include the breeding of the dog. So, you know, a lot of, there are some males that will naturally breed. That is a plus. Most males you do have to artificially inseminate the female with because the male will not naturally breed. So you've got the, you know, expense of collecting semen and knowing how to do AIs and, you know, all of the proper tools and things that are needed to do AI correctly. So you're not dealing with infections. If the breeder is lucky enough to know how to do it themselves, I happen to know how to do AI. I'm able to collect myself and to inseminate the girls myself. I don't need help to do it, but a lot of people have to use the vets to do it. You know, and the vet can show you how to do that, but here again, it's another expense. And it is also a lot of time. It takes time to do all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of expense that goes into these guys ahead of time. The C-section is probably the biggest thing. Like I said, you're going to rack up almost a $2,000 bill on just a C-section. You know, and she only has 2, 3, maybe 4 pups, you know, and sometimes Frenchies aren't the best mamas, you know. They're big and bulky. They tend to lay on puppies and not realize it. So there's a lot that goes into it. That's just kind of, I didn't mean to actually get way off on that tangent, but it just kind of went. But that's a little bit on the background of Frenchies and why, because people will say, well, why are they so expensive? And that's part of the reason. You know, one, I mean, it costs double the amount to buy breeding stock for a Frenchie than it does to buy a Cocker Spaniel breeding stock, you know, in the first place. But then you've got the expense of the upkeep and the breeding and all that kind of stuff. So that's one of the reasons, or part of the reason why you'll find prices being a little bit more expensive on these guys, but they are definitely worth it. They are, you know, the nice thing about Frenchies, for the bulldogs, they do have a shortened muzzle, okay, but these guys are not as bad. These guys are not as bad as the English bulldogs, okay. English bulldogs, and I love them dearly, so I'm not trying to crack on your English if you've got one. I love their personalities, but your English definitely have very deep set wrinkles. They have deep set noses. A lot of them have entropions. You have to do their eyes. A lot of them have stenotic nares. You have to correct their nose, palates. You know, if you look in the mouth of an English back in the back, the palates. A lot of those have to have their palates reduced. So your English bulldogs can be medically very expensive. With your Frenchies, you tend not to run into any of those things I just cited, except for stenotic nares. And her nose, actually, I believe was already done. We did clip her nose because it is very common in them. But that's actually the least of the procedures. You know, you get into palate reductions and different things like that. You get into, you know, entropions. Entropions is furrowed eyelid. Very common in bulldogs. Of course, hers are not. But that's your English more so. Anyway, you can get into a lot of expenses with some of the other bulldogs. The Frenchies, your main expense is the purchase, and then after that, you really don't have to deal with it quite as much. But like I said, these guys they're great dogs. They do very well in apartments. They're going to do very well in homes and dwellings. You know, they are going to enjoy going outside. Wintertime, probably going to want a coat on because they'll be okay to go out for a little bit, but not a long time. So that's it for these 3 guys. We do have one more pen with a couple other cutie patooties to talk about. We're going to head over there.
All right, and then while we're about to move over there, again, that's our French Bulldog, our Cocker Spaniel, and then our Yorkie and a Poodle. And then while Mark's making his way over here to talk about the next playpen here, I'll talk a little bit more about us. So again, this is Friday Night Live at Your New Puppy. We're located near the Cincinnati, Ohio area. One of the common questions that we do get with the pups is price. Because we're multi-streaming on Instagram and YouTube, we're not able to throw out price here, but if you guys call us during normal business hours or direct message our page after the live, we can get you guys that info. How do you find out more info about us? Check out our website. Website's going to be yournewpuppyllc.com. If you guys go on there, we do have pictures of all the pups that we currently have available, except these new guys. We'll have them up tomorrow afternoon. But that's one of the reasons we do this, and we also do it for educational purposes as well, to help properly inform you guys so you can make an informed decision about picking out a little fluffy companion for the future here. But I'll go ahead and pass it back over to Mark so he can talk about these guys.
All right, thank you, sir. So we have 3 in here that look pretty much the same, and they kind of are, but they're kind of not. So the 2, this one and this one, not you. Those 2 are Yorkie Catans. All right, that's a male and a female. Miles is the male, Amira is the female. Yorkie Catan is a Yorkie mix. So the one here, that is Cusco, and he is a pure Yorkie. So they all look kind of the same. They're going to carry a lot of the same traits. So it's going to make this pen pretty easy to chit chat about. So get my stuff over here. Come here, kids. Are you going to come here? Are you going to come here? No. No. Huh? Come here. Come here, you stinker. All right, so this is our pure Yorkie. All right, come here. This is our pure Yorkie. This is a registered Yorkie. This is Cusco. And he's going to be, he's actually, believe it or not, okay, so like his dad's name is Little Joe. Little Joe is a teacup Yorkie. Little Joe weighs all of like 4 pounds. His sister, this Cusco's sister, is actually still at the house. She is not coming in down for another week or so because she's pretty tiny. She is most likely, I will also tell you guys, she's probably going to be sold before she gets here. I have a couple of people interested in her because they missed out on the last litter of teacups or toys that we had, and so they went on the waiting list. So you'll probably see her, maybe, but if not, you know, if you happen to be wanting a toy size Yorkie, the tiny stuff, you do have to get on a waiting list here in order to do that. In his case, so what the history is here. So Little Joe is a 4-pound Yorkie. Okay. So, but his mom, and I apologize, I don't remember her name, but it'll be on his bio. But his mom is a normal Yorkie, so 8 to 10 pounds. So that is how you would want to correctly breed for the possibility of teacups and toys. It always kills me when breeders take 2 4-pound Yorkies and breed them and, you know, hope for the best. Biggest problem with that is a 4-pound female Yorkie is not going to be able to deliver those pups. So your wiser genetic decision is to use a normal size 6, 8, 10-pound kind of female with a tiny male. And what you will get, this will happen where you'll get one that's normal size, which is him, but then you'll get his sister, which I still have at the house, who's going to be, like I said, a teacup or a toy. You know, she's same age as him, and he's already 10 weeks old, and she's only like 1.10 pounds. So she's got a long way to go. But anyway, pure Yorkie nonetheless. This little guy, even though he's not going to be a teacup, he's still going to be adorable. Very traditional in your markings and your color. Very normal looking little Yorkie. As you can see, he's sitting here just kind of licking and loving on me. That's the typical Yorkie. Very loving kind of dogs. They do really well. They are, and all of these guys, see if I can gather all 3. All right, so all of these guys, because these 2 are Yorkie Catans. So we're going to talk about training because it's going to be pretty much the same for all of these. You are dealing with a Yorkshire Terrier, and Yorkies are independent thinking. They're very independent mind types of dogs. Keep in mind what their original purpose and use was. Yorkies were originally bred to kill rats and mice in the greeneries. That's what their original purpose was back in England. When there was rodent troubles, they would take one of these little guys, these little terrors, and turn them loose in the granary, and they're pretty good at eradicating mice and rats without too much trouble. You looking right at me? But with that being said, that is part of why they have such an independent mindset, is because they get on task and they go. And that's what they're bred to do. So these guys are all going to be about the same when it comes to working and training with these guys. And you're going to need to work with that. You need to be need to be very consistent. You're going to need to be very persistent and stick to a schedule. If you have multiple members in the house, make sure that everybody's on the same schedule. Don't be wishy-washy with your rules and regulations, because these guys they'll take advantage of that basically. So training with these is not for the novice, but I say that loosely. It's preferred that you have dog experience to handle a Yorkie. So what if you don't have dog experience? That's okay. We can still work with that. So how do you work with that? Go to some puppy classes. Real simple. Take some puppy classes. It works really well. Puppy classes are phenomenal for teaching you how to talk to him, and that's the main threshold that people don't get. They assume these guys understand English. These dogs don't understand English. They understand our body language. They read our body language. They hear our voice tone, and they pick up on our aura, kind of how we're presenting. Are we happy? Are we sad? Are we excited? Are we anxious? Dogs can pick up on all of those perceptions like instantly, and even puppies. It's very common for these guys to be able to perceive that stuff. So, knowing how to regulate yourself is how you communicate with them. Eventually they can learn English, they learn words, syllables, things like that, they learn the names and stuff like that. So, they can learn it to some degree, but out of the chute, they don't know, they don't know. So you have to teach them. So, anyway, so training, that's a little bit about training with these guys. Now, grooming for all of these, again, we have 2 Yorkie Catons, that's these 2. This is our pure Yorkie. On the camera, you're not going to see a whole lot of difference. The Yorkie has a little bit wavier coat to them. The Catons, or the Yorkie Catons, have a little bit straighter coat, and that's because of the Caton that's in them. Caton is its own breed. It's a newer breed, but it's very similar to your Bichon Frise. So your Coton is actually the correct way to say it, but your Coton is half of these guys. Their mom is a Coton, and their dad is a pure Yorkie. But still, you'll find the Yorkie Catons to have a little bit softer nature. The Coton might edge off that Yorkie, independence a little bit, but it's still going to be there to a degree. He's definitely going to have it, and that's okay. I like my pure Yorkies. I have a couple myself, and I do have some that I breed as well, but I do have a couple pets, and I enjoy Yorkies. I like their personality. But, all right, so anyway, grooming and stuff with these guys, you are going to need a hard comb. I don't remember, I don't think I did. So this is your hard comb. Very easy to get through Yorkies. Their hair doesn't mat very quickly. The only time it's really going to mat is if you neglect it and don't do this. You do this about every 3 days, and you won't have any issues. Get the dogs used to being in touch with the comb and comb through, getting their hair pulled and stuff like that, because this does pull on them. They will do just fine. And, you can see they're just sitting here. I'm kind of just yanking at them. And, it's conditioning, but something you do need to do, and you do want to do that. Potty patches are something else you can do. So get some good grooming scissors. These are blunt-ended, as you can see, no point, which is good. And these are very safe to use around the dogs. If they flinch, you're not going to poke them accidentally. Potty patches are going to be the backside, do down their butt, which we've already done theirs. On your boys, do your belly. This one's a little girl, this one's a little boy. But on the boys, you do your belly so they don't tinkle on themselves. You can do around the face and stuff like that. To get them conditioned around the face, I do always recommend just doing one of these deals, get them used. I am loosely holding his head, her head. Come here. All right. So I like this. So very loosely, I'm holding her head, and that's really to keep her from thrashing. If I'm up around her face working, I don't want her thrashing her head. So, but you can. I'm not holding tight, just enough to keep her from moving. Or if she does move, she's going to move against my hand, which I can, control her. But this just teaches her some restrictions and also teaches her getting used to the scissors around the face. Right now she's playing with them. But working with your dog, that's very important, to work with your dog and to condition them to the things that you want to do. This right here, that's puppy play biting, and that actually is a no-no. So you would want to redirect that. Puppies bite as nature when they're siblings and stuff. They're going to bite quite a bit. Everything goes in a dog's mouth. I mean, they explore one of a couple ways. If they can't see it, they're going to smell it or they're going to bite on it. And that's about the only way they explore things. So puppy play biting, although it's super cute right now, not going to be real cute when she gets older. So get her something she can play with, and if she's biting on your fingers, replace it with something that she can chew on like that. So that is a little bit about these three. They all look very much the same. So I'm gonna actually just pick up one of these guys because I really don't want to gather up three of them. So first I gotta get them out of here. So I can stand up, which is going to be a feat in itself. But let me get up, and I will grab. I guess. I'll grab her.
And again, that's our two Yotans, Yorkie and Katana Toliers, those there, and then
girl.
Yep, girl.
That's the boy.
Boy, and then pure Yorkie is the one that's down there. But we're gonna go ahead and move up while Mark gets situated here. We're gonna go ahead and move up. He'll close this out in just a second. If you guys do want to find out more info about us, our YNP admin actually put the link there. Our website is yournewpuppyllc.com. If you guys click on that, that'll take you to our webpage. You can find a lot of useful information there. As always, before Mark closes us out here, we do appreciate subscribes and likes. Really helps out our page. Thank you guys so much. And comments, much appreciated. But I'll go ahead and pass it over to Mark so he can close us out here.
Yep. Hey, I wanted to throw it again. I mentioned at the beginning. I meant to say something during the play areas and I forgot. Layaway. If you're looking at these guys and you're thinking this is fantastic, this is the kind of dog I want, but we're leaving for Christmas, which a lot of people are. We're not going to be back till after New Year's. We do have Layaway here at the store. You can come in right now before you go on Christmas vacay. Get these guys, put a deposit down, leave them here. They're safe here. We'll take care of them for you. We'll feed them. We'll take care of them. We'll clean them all up. When it's time to go and stuff. Then when you come back from vacation, come on in. Your little guy will be ready. We'll have that all set. We'll give him a fresh bath, and then you're good to go. You don't have to deal with the Christmas holidays and a new puppy and all that chaos and headache. And I wouldn't want to deal with it either. Leave them here. That's our job. We'll take care of them for you. So we do have Layaway available for all of our dogs. If there's somebody here that you happen to see that you wanted, we can accommodate that. And we use it year-round too, by the way. Not just at Christmas time, but we use it, all through the summer, people going on vacations and whenever. So it's available year-round, but now is a big time that people use it. So anyway, a little teaser for next week. What we will have coming in, we have a Yorkie Poo coming in. We had a little male that was Blue Merle. This time we've got a little female coming in. She's Blue Merle. We have two mini golden doodles. We have a red female and then we have a Blue Merle male. They are not brother and sister. They're from two completely different litters, but same age and stuff. But they'll be in next week as well. And then Cabochons, Cavalier Bichons, sweet little things. Cavalier mixes. You gotta love your Cavalier mixes. Two little girls. One's a ruby and one's a Blenheim or a white and red. So that's what we'll have next week to talk about in our puppy showcase. That will not happen till Friday, which means Christmas is going to happen before that. So on behalf of myself and everybody here, we want to wish all of you such a wonderful and blessed Christmas. It's such a special day, and it's such a special season. And I hope all of you really, no matter what you're doing, if you're going away, and spending it with family, love what you do. If you want to stay home and just spend it with your four-legged kids, that's cool too. Make it a special day. Whatever it is, however you want to spend it, that's your choice, but make it special for you. And we want to wish all of you a very Merry